Hey, this is Sam from Kinky Assignments. How to find out what your kinks are. Or how to find out what your partner's kinks are. I created a special list for you and it has over 60 different kinks. I'm going to show you how to use this list. First of all, before you're going to start, just remember one thing. There's no weird kink. Kinks are called kinks because they're different. And they're different from everyone. I have quite a few kinks that I think that quite a lot of people think that's really weird. But that's my kinks. If you want to get to know each other better and you want to explore together and you want to be in a relationship where honesty is key, what is it that makes you tick? What is it that turns you on? What makes you get off when you see it? Maybe it's a woman in an evening gown. It's totally fine. Everything is possible. Maybe it's wigs. Who knows? It doesn't matter. I posted the link down this video where you can download this kinks list. I would recommend for you to both fill it in. There might be things that you are scared of that might be a turn on, but you're not sure if it's for you. That's totally fine. Everything is allowed and it will be a great starter for you. So this is actually also your assignment. Your assignment for today is to go and find this kinks list and just add it and fill it in. I hope you enjoy it. Now you may ask yourself why it's important as a dominant to fill in a kinks list. I think it's very important because what we found out in our relationship is that dominants have hard limits as well. There are certain things that you are not willing to do. Anyway, it's a good idea to discuss what is a turn on for you. It's not just about the submissive. My dominant, for instance, he was never willing to slap me in my face. And when we found out that that is a huge turn on for me, at one point he decided that he wanted to try it. But for us, it was a very good thing that I knew also that for him it was not a turn on at that point. It is now. But then when we started it, it definitely wasn't. It was scary for him. And it will give a lot more respect, more understanding for the other side. So I would recommend that you also fill this in as a dominant. There is one for submissives. It's in the other video. Feel free to check it out. You can download this specific kinks list. I put a link down below where you can download it. Before I'm going into the kinks, I'm actually not going into the kinks. Let me explain to you a little bit how it works. There's a list with a lot of kinks on it, fetishes. And the first question that is asked is, do you have experience with it? Yes or no? For instance, it might be interesting for your submissive to know if you have any experience with needles or with bondage or with sounding. It's a mutual journey, this. And maybe you have a submissive that can help you in figuring out how things work, give you more tips. So don't be afraid to ask. The fact that you're the dominant doesn't mean that you have to be the most experienced one. It also doesn't have to mean that you know everything. I think it's one of the most admirable aspects of a dominant is that if you are willing to learn as a dominant. Since this document is also very useful in discussing hard and soft limits, I would recommend you also fill this in. So let me explain to you a bit what you fill in. The second column here is called Is it a turn on? And you find here, you see there is a list with 5 numbers and a no. And one of these numbers you're going to fill in here, behind all the kinks. The no is very important because this is where your hard limit is. If you put in no, it says I will not do this under any circumstance. There's one putting in willing to do this if asked. You don't have a desire and you don't like. But you are willing to do that if it is asked. The example that I just gave you about the face slapping, my master would have put in a 0 on face slapping. He didn't have a desire to slap me in my face. He also didn't like to slap me in my face. It was going against everything that he believed in and how you should treat women. But I was asking for it. And he was willing to do it if asked. So it was not a hard limit for him, but he would have given it a 0. The 1 is it is intriguing, but it's scary or embarrassing and maybe I'm not entirely ready to do it. 2 is I'm willing to do it, but it doesn't excite me. So it's not a huge turn on, but I'm willing to do it. There's a difference between the 0 and the 2. Face spitting. My master was willing to do that
It was not something that I didn't like, but it didn't excite him. But he was willing to do it and to give it a try. And then he tried it, and then he was completely hooked. Now he loves to spit me in my face and in my mouth. So he does it all the time, and for us is one of the things that's really establishing all the power exchange in our relationship, and we both love it a lot. 3 would like to do it once in a while. And now we're getting to the fun stuff, of course. 4 is love doing it and would like to do it on a regular basis. 5 is a wild turn on and would like to do it as often as possible. I think those speak for itself, so find out what makes you feel comfortable. The best thing is if you fill this in, you use it afterwards to have a discussion about it with your submissive and not just fill it in and then leave it. There's an extra column, and that's called How Scary Is This? It's for dominance, it's not as important as for submissives, but you can imagine that there might be stuff that is scary for you to do. One of the examples that I could think of is, for instance, needle play. My master can't stand blood. He's fainting when he has to go to the dentist. So for him, as you can imagine, needle play was quite scary. But we did it anyway, and it was one of the most wonderful experiences that we had. But it's good to know that it's scary. And then it's also good to fill in the comments why it's scary. It's not a bad thing if you faint, if you see blood. You can still be a dominant. My dominant is like this. Don't tell anyone, though. Okay, so, well, I have, let's see, I think I made 68 different ones. I should have made 60 with 69, of course. There are 68 different kinks, sexual acts, fetishes, whatever you call it. It doesn't really matter. Here, if you find a kink that you have, which is not on the list, just fill it in here and fill in the same columns, and then it will be a completed document. I would love to hear if you have a kink that's not on the list. Just let me know that you wanted to have it added, because I will add it to the list. So the list will all the time be updated. So each time that you download it, it will be the last version with all the kinks on it. So I'm hoping this will give you enough information to give you a great start to talk with your submissive about what you like and what you don't like, and it will give you so much more inspiration. So now you're gonna have fun again. If you like it, don't forget to hit the thumbs up under this video. Click the bell button, because then you get updates also. I hope you liked it. Play with passion. Don't forget to download the kinks list below.